Welcome back to the Coach Cameron Soccer Podcast. Emporium? No. Special needs program? Yes! I think I am special needs. This is episode 564. Don't let the pandemic end a 100-year-old soccer legacy. They don't care. Is it safe for kids to play soccer? No. It's dangerous. Tony Leisner in a German league went into the stands to fight with fans. Yes! About time. We got fans in the stands, loving it, do it all the time. And Pulisic suffers an injury. And we're going to talk about how we don't have midfielders that can play at the next level in the masses, as we should in the United States because of U.S. soccer, because they're a bunch of morons. They just collect money and rob us from freaking growing the game because they have to have their gym membership paid for. That's my last episode. All of this on episode 564. Welcome. Don't let the pandemic end a 100-year-old soccer legacy. I agree. We shouldn't do that. If I can get this stupid thing. There we go. All right, fine. So this is an opinion piece out of the New York Times by Bill Saporito. Hope I'm saying his name right. He says, soccer was once the sport of immigrants in a city of immigrants. Now it's everyone's game. The Cosmopolitan Soccer League, one of the oldest continuing operating soccer leagues in the country, began life as the German-American Soccer League in 1923. Wow. Some of these are still around, joined by other than 100 other varieties, such as the Astoria United, Manhattan Kickers Football Club, Greek American Atlas Astoria, Williamsburg International, and NYPD Finest. Well, careful with that one. I bet it's going to be scary to play right now with all the flipping BS going on. People attacking cops randomly, you freaking morons. The league, where I've been a player, a coach for decades, played on through the Great Depression, World War II, and the aftermath of the September 11th attacks. The coronavirus pandemic may end that run. Are you kidding me? We are cowards. As a whole, we're cowards. Why? We're cowards in two ways. One, we have a bunch of snowflakes dictating this country about what we're allowed to do, and we have a bunch of conservatives that aren't fighting. They're just stay quiet. We'll just vote. I think that time is over. I say, announce your beliefs, and we have more numbers. There's more numbers of people that want sanity and the freedom of choice. We want freedom to make decisions. The ones that can't make choices because they're scared, they can stay home and they can stay safe. What about grandpa and grandma? Worry about your grandpa and grandma. Don't worry about mine. Okay? If I want to give my grandparents COVID and kill them, that's my choice, not yours. That's the way we need to run. If you can kill unborn babies, that's your choice. Go ahead. I'm fine with it. Leave me out of it. Don't mess with me. I won't mess with you. All right. That went a little nutty. All right. He continues to say, on August 28th, the department said it would begin to process permits for youth leagues. That's a good decision. Youth leagues should and do get priority. The kids are getting a chance to play because their parents, no doubt desperate to get them out of the house, true, regardless of what your beliefs are, complain loudly to their elected representatives and to the Parks Department about its initial rash decision on August 19th to close off these public spaces to children, which was stupid. Stupid. Adult soccer leagues, on the other hand, as well as lacrosse, softball, baseball, and cricket leagues, have been sidelined by the Parks Department bureaucracy that is neglecting newly established safety protocols and ignoring the logistics of playing field sports in the dense city. We're not the only soccer league affected either. Others, such as the New York Metropolitan Women's Soccer League and the NYC Footy, a mixed-gender league, have also lost access. So have some teams in Long Island Soccer Football League as well. Okay, he goes on to say the Parks Commissioner, Mitchell J. Silver, remember that name, hasn't had much to say on the matter. He did not respond to my request for an interview, but the department said in a statement that adult leagues, many of them for profit, oh my gosh, they're for profit. They must be corrupt. They're not corrupt like the nonprofit U.S. Soccer where we're paying Joseph or whatever your name is, Jay Berhalter and Flynn, who both make anywhere from $700,000 to $850,000 in the last fiscal year. demanded for their contracts to pay for their premium package to lift weights $175 a month. What? That's on my last podcast. That ticks me off. For-profit, non-profit. Who gives a flying crap? They're all, if criminals are criminals, regardless how they're labeled, their business or whoever they're working for. So shut your mouth. Oh, okay, so you can't do it because they're for-profit. Shut up. Continue to have access to unpermitted fields for organized play on first-come, first-served basis. In other words, working people who rely on organized leagues for scheduled time slots will have to make their way to, say, Randall's Island and hope there is space for them, which is likely not going to be the case. That's not likely. Running in an organized league on unpermitted fields on an ad hoc basis is illogical, if not impossible, and potentially unsafe. Inviting unlimited numbers of people to play on limited numbers of spaces doesn't seem like the smartest way to mitigate risk, yet the Parks Department is essentially allowing play only in uncontrolled conditions. That is government. That is the left agenda of stupidity. They create these stupid rules. Like, so in Arizona, City of Phoenix was the last city to open up. Scottsdale opened up. West Avondale, Goodyear, Gilbert, Anthem. Everyone's open except for Phoenix, the largest city. And they were denying them the ability to play in their own neighborhood. So what did they have to do? They had to take off. I mean, when we first were doing this, the only thing that was open was way in Maricopa, which from my house is like an hour drive. Everyone went there to play. So what happened, like it's happening everywhere else, because government is stupid, is they all congregate to one area and just mass populate the area. So if the disease is that dangerous, by the way, we are infecting, in their case, other islands, but not in our islands. But they come back home. It's the silliest thing ever. Life has not stopped. But this whole virtue signaling bull crap is like, we did what we're supposed to do. We're a good Democrat, and we just do these things because this is our agenda. We're all on the same page. Are you freaking kidding me? That's why I'm libertarian. How can you go through life and agree with your party? I fight with my party. Let me tell you something. I fight with my party so much. When Ron Paul was coming up, I registered as a Republican to become a district. I won the district vote, LD something, I don't know, over my district, to become a vote to change the Arizona slate, the Republican slate, to get all libertarians. They were called incognito voters. And those mother freakers changed the rules to avoid what happened, which was a hostile takeover of their party. That's why they got their butt kicked. That's why Mitt Romney got his butt kicked, because our whole party was divided, fighting. How can you agree with everything the Democrats are doing? If you agree with everything, you are evil, and you're a robot. Evil and a robot. Yes, I agree to what I said. If you agree to everything in your party, Republican and Democrat, whatever, you're evil, and you have no thought process. And it's okay to be wrong. I'm wrong all the freaking time. But geez Louise, sorry about that. Yeah, I'm kind of angry today. Too much crap. Because City of Phoenix shut down their school, Phoenix Union, no school. And they're like, woo, look at us. We're going to take the inner cities and shut them down. Those kids can't go to school. You know what sucks about that? For the ones that can't afford it, okay, we'll just go to a charter. You know, we'll just move. We'll go to a private. But the poor have no choices. Good job, Phoenix Union. It's ridiculous. I'm having a bad day of crazy. And I get what I should do is just be happy, but that's hard to do. I'm working on that. I need to be more positive. and it's tough. It's difficult to understand why New York wants to encourage unsafe play across the country. Soccer leagues have restarted. In some states, soccer has been labeled a non-contact sport. That's not the way I play it. Ha, ha, ha. And within New York State, soccer has now been reclassified as a moderate risk sport, meaning league play can resume. U.S. Soccer, the sport governing body, has published an extensive guide about safe return to play, and public health authorities have established protocols such as masks for coaches, substitutes, and officials on the sidelines, as well as limiting total attendance to 50 people or to 2 spectators per player. And it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter. You know why it doesn't matter? It's because it doesn't matter because there'll be new policy, like that nut job out of Maine. She'll just create fantasy rules and overstep her power and take over U.S. Soccer. But all these government officials, they want power. They want to control your life. That's why they run for these positions. That's why I call Doug Ducey Lord Ducey. Actually, I didn't call him that. I call him that, but I heard on one of my talk shows here. But I agree. He wants all power. He's a Republican. See, I can rip on those idiots too. The article goes on. Soccer leagues are playing in Westchester and in New Jersey. They're playing in Sinatra Park in Hoboken near the entrance of Lincoln Tunnel, but not at DeWitt Clinton Park on 11th and 54th on the other side of the Hudson. Article continues. The Parks Department seems to think that because some leagues are for profit, that we're elitist. Quite the opposite. Our teams represent the diversity of the city. We play in all 5 boroughs, from the Soundview Park in the Bronx to Corporal Thompson Park in Staten Island. Our players are bakers and bankers, construction workers and real estate agents, cops and lawyers, teachers and students, even journalists. And that is true. That's no different here in Arizona. You have all walks of life. Sports is amazing. Sports do bring people together from all walks of life, because especially in soccer, it just brings so many people together. Now, occasionally you'll have a fist fight and stuff, but at least your team is diverse and you're fighting another team that's diverse. I mean, but it's an equal fight of diversity, in my opinion. And New York's leagues are still proudly upholding soccer heritage as a sport of immigrants. As soon as 11 guys arrive in New York from somewhere new, they form a soccer team. In recent seasons, we've added players from Afghanistan, our first Chinese-American team. Our teams proudly celebrate that European, Asian, and North, South, and Central American heritage. Over the years, I have been cursed in many languages. Wherever you're from, you step on the field and everyone has the same status, teammate and competitor. That's the real beauty of the beautiful game in New York City. That's in Arizona, same way. That's soccer universal throughout the United States. It's you have all walks of life, all nationalities, and you're all angry at each other based on the game, not because of skin color or anything like that. Not having a wider access to these fields is also a financial waste. When I first started playing, the pitches in McCarran Park on the Randall's Island and in Red Hook were patches of dirt and rocks with dirty hypodermic needles strewn about. But over the last 2 decades, the Parks Department and civic groups such as Randall's Island Park Alliance have replaced these urban smudges with first-rate fields through the magic of artificial turf. Soccer players are also taxpayers and help fund these fields. Why can't we use them? Good question. And why can't you take a risk? Because the lefties say no. In 1919, multiple teams from New York City reached the later rounds of the U.S. Open Cup. I love the U.S. Open Cup, giving everyone an opportunity to compete and play, unlike youth soccer. It continues on. Then Soccer National Championships. The team from Brooklyn Morse Dry Rock reached the semifinals. A war had just ended and the flu pandemic was spreading in New York, but soccer was too important to the community to stop playing. That is true. Same goes for the Hispanic community here in Arizona. you can't take that culture away from them. It can't be denied. They're going to play regardless if you say they can or not. They're going to. So it's not like your fake rules did anything, did nothing. It just denied access. Today, we have no global war, but we do have a pandemic, and the city's health authorities are learning each day how to better cope with it. Museums and gyms are now open with limits. We're sending our kids back to the classroom. Not everywhere. Not in Phoenix. Hey! Jeez. Museums and gyms are not, where was I? The city needs to get off the bench so New Yorkers can kick around just as we've been doing for the last century. Bill Saporito is a contributor to the editor board and a member of the Cosmopolitan Soccer League. Thank you for that article. I appreciate you. And that's huge. I like reading any contributor that's actually a citizen and not being paid for clicks. That's where you get the real news, my friends. That's where you get it. So let's move on to is it safe? Is it safe? I don't know. Probably not. Is it safe for our kids to play soccer or other contact sports? Oh my gosh. No, it's not safe. It's so dangerous. We can't do this. So this is an article written by Sarah Lindenfeld Hall. Go ask mom, editor. I like it. Another editor. Along with the schools, museums, playgrounds, and businesses that shut down in mid-March because of the COVID-19 pandemic, so did sports leagues for tens of thousands of kids across the triangle. Evening and afternoon spent on fields, courts, and pools came to an abrupt halt as practices and games were canceled, leaving them to mourn lost opportunities and seasons. By the summer, some sports were practicing again, often in social distancing ways, but as the school year began, so this is what happened. So in soccer and sports out here, when we were allowed to, according to the guidelines we were given, by the way, guidelines, we followed the guidelines, and then we just do enough so the Karens can see from afar that we're safe, or it's not safe, doing what they want us to do. It's all about control. If you don't think it's not about control, you're living in a fantasy land. This is all about control. There's a group of people, a lot of them, that just want you to do what they want, and they want control over you. That's all they want. Freaking Karens. Yeah, we have too many of them. I'll move down. While many kids are eager to get back to the field or court, some parents may be wondering, is it really safe to play contact sports? No. Have you seen some of the technique in soccer? It's dangerous. The ball always in between people. That's dangerous. We have a technique issues freaking causing so many injuries. On Monday, the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services updated its guidance on youth and amateur sports programs with some answers. If it noted that Governor Roy Cooper's executive order doesn't restrict what types of sports can be played right now, but the agency strongly recommends only playing sports in which participants can maintain social distancing. So get rid of rec soccer. Can't do that. And a lot of their competitive soccer, there is zero separation there. Those sports include golf, cycling, disc golf, swimming, singles tennis, jeez Louise, running, track and field, and dance. How can track and field be considered? I mean, you can't do doubles in tennis, but you can do track and field. They're running side by side, man. That is insane. It's just stupid. That's how dumb the government is. They just make up crap. Just, we got this done. For soccer, baseball, volleyball, and softball, where close contact may occur, but isn't prolonged, the department recommends limiting tournament where multiple teams convene. If the sports are played, the department recommends that they're played outside and athletes wear face coverings if they can be tolerated. No, they can't be tolerated, but they're out there. You imagine playing soccer in Arizona with a face mask? You want a quick death? Do that. so freaking hot. It's so hot it eats up the oxygen. Then you're gonna throw a mask on. Freaking. How about just do whatever you think is safe? And by the way, limiting sports competition. That's what they're doing in Arizona. You know, their guidelines. So I was at Fair Farm, and that place was flippin' packed. Why? Because everyone wants to play. Everybody wants to play, and that's the problem we're dealing with as far as bringing everyone together. And COVID's dropping. COVID will go through the roof. If COVID is so dangerous, it's so scary. Fair Farm just blew it up. I mean, it's everywhere. Arizona, it's going to be, it was a super spreader at Fair Farm. Super spreader. The article goes on. Playing contact sports definitely presents risks, said Emily Sickbert Bennett, Director of Infectious Prevention at UNC Medical Center. It's possible to spread the coronavirus between players as they're fighting for the ball or blocking shots on the court. Outside sports may present less risk than indoor ones, she said. Coronavirus particles appear to scatter more quickly when outside. You imagine if we talked about all particles, whether they're coronavirus particles or not. We are so uptight on germs. And for the ones that haven't seen that comedian bit that talks about germs, the comedian was George Carlin. George Carlin does a bit on germs. Go to YouTube right now and search George Carlin on germs. He described, this was like 20 years ago. He predicted this whole mess. It's hilarious. Not that it's freaking true. Watch it, please. Maybe it'll educate some of you nut jobs out there. All right, so she goes on to say, but it also depends on how much sustained contact the players have between each other. While soccer is a contact sport, one study this summer found that it is only a minor risk of coronavirus transmission during a game. In the Netherlands, officials studied nearly 500 soccer matches to see how often players came in close contact with each other. The study found that 98% of the time there was very little or no risk the players would transmit the virus to each other, according to a report in consultancy.eu. But that's not science, according to the ones that don't want it to be science. Don't you like that? Believe science, but not their science, only our science. Believe doctors, not our doctors, or not their doctors, our doctors. Only believe our doctors. Enough. Have you guys all lost your mind yet? Like me? Trapped in my house? COVID problems. So far, there hasn't been any big reports about kids getting sick with COVID-19. We knew this. Science told us this. There's other countries going to school and say there's zero evidence of us transmitting the disease. I would show you the fact. I would actually do my homework and show you that, but I already saw it, and I'm not going to dig it up again because you won't believe it because it's not proper science. Only science matters are science. Believe science. Frickin' morons. Sorry. Early reports so far don't indicate large transmission rates among youth soccer players, at least. Youth soccer leagues in California this summer found that after holding 143,000 soccer sessions over 8 weeks, just confirmed just 15 cases of COVID. But California shut down. Yay! I had a friend of mine from California. I won't mention his name or what club or anything. Contact me. Hey, can we get a game? You know, like illegal because they weren't allowed to like go play out of state or anything. And I'm like, sure. I'm all about breaking government BS rules. It'd be his problem, not mine, but whatever. Those players contracted the virus from somebody outside of soccer if those 15 cases were those that found it from other people. And in an email to a parent on August 31st, NCFC Youth announced that players have stepped on its field 40,000 times during the start of the current season, and it's been notified for only 4 positive COVID cases. Those cases were traced to outside sources, too. Fake science. Coronavirus Coronavirus cases, however, did impact high school baseball and softball teams, which resumed their season in Iowa over the summer, leading some to drop out, according to ESPN. And fakes, those are fake numbers, fake science, fake doctors, because I don't want that to be true. But there were enough remaining teams to still play state championships in both sports. As you consider whether your child is returning to play, Sigbert Bennett said there are steps you can take to lower your child's risk. Yay. And a mindset you can employ as you consider what this season might look like. You can turn the dial on for soccer, but not turn it on the way soccer used to be fully. Bull, she said, or at least start off a little bit less and see how it's going and see what our community incidences turns out to be another month from now. If things are improving, if you're feeling more comfortable with the interactions, you can turn the dial incrementally. It doesn't have to be just soccer is on. We're going to do it in exactly the way we did it before. Okay. We never turned the dial down at all. We haven't. We never stopped. The dial would be on in Walmart, Costco, Home Depot, QT, Circle K, all the places we can go, and we're forced into everything else is shut down, but we're all pushed into where? Circle K, QT, Home Depot, Walgreens, Safeway, all the, just go by yourself. Don't take family. Yeah, right. That doesn't work. And it's not been that way. This is all a big freaking joke. The spread would have been the same. You say stay home, stay safe. That is not the case. People are out. All we're doing is destroying the economy. That is it. I'm not saying COVID's not real. It is real. I get it. But everything we've done has done nothing. All it did was it made government officials look what I did. I mandated it because all the Karens told me to, and this is what I do. Took away freedoms. Good job. All right, here we go with take precautions. Socially distancing practices, drills, and conditioning are lower risk, she said. So are scrimmages with team when compared to a weekend tournament wearing a mask is another good way to lower the risk of catching the coronavirus. But a 100% chance risk of death in Arizona at a 12 o'clock game. In Michigan, high school football, soccer, and volleyball players are actually required to wear face masks during the competition because Michigan is nuts. And a state I will never move to, other places I won't move to either, is Hawaii. Oh, it's Hawaii. No. Too many liberals. They want control. I'm not going there. I'm not going to frickin' Maine. I'm not going to any liberal crazy place. And Arizona's getting to that point. After this election, I'm going to consider get the freak out of here if it goes crazy liberal. Because all the Californians are moving over here. Don't California my Arizona. Well, doesn't matter if they destroyed their state. They're coming to destroy yours because they're that freaking stupid. Sorry. No, I'm not. I'm just telling you my truth. I'm telling you my truth today. And I'm sick of it. I'm tired and I'm sick of the nonsense. And this is what's happening. The Democrats used to be the party of liberty, freedom of speech, freedom, to choose to do the things you want to do. And now they're becoming the party of communism. You're not allowed to do this. You're not allowed to do that. We are going to take everything away from you. We're going to take it from the rich, give it to the poor. You have no freedoms. You're not good enough. Because of the color of your skin, you can't make it. Only the white people can. That's the mentality. I'm sorry. You know all the things I said in this podcast. It's going to be one of my worst viewing ones on YouTube because of all the words I've spoke. I'm going to get shut down. Too political. I don't care. I only want to speak my truth. I don't want to be controlled by numbers from how many people are viewing this podcast, but it does make me feel better when people do. Let's go. Don't go if you're sick. Okay, thanks. That's how it's always been here. If you're sick, don't play. Got it. Your child might wake up with what you think is allergies, but if you have any warning signs of COVID, which is everything apparently, which includes fever, cough, or shortness of breath, stay home. The CDC has guidelines, which change every freaking day, and when they change and don't match your narrative, you won't read them. You only want to know what you want to know. You know what I want to know is freedom of choice. Let me be me. Oh, you're going to infringe on my rights. No, I'm not. You can stay home. I'm going out. Stores can shut down if they want to. That's their choice. But freaking government shutting everything freaking down. Be aware of how you're feeling, she said. Leagues and coaches can set expectations with families that are going to be honest about symptoms of exposure within the household, and they are going to keep kids home when they need to be home. Oh, watch the horseplay and shared surfaces. Plenty of kids love the camaraderie. Watch the horseplay and shared surfaces. Plenty of kids love the camaraderie on the sidelines as much as they love actual playing sports. But wrestling, tackling, and even spraying water bottles at each other probability isn't a good idea right now. Be careful with the other shared surfaces too. The state use sports guidelines recommend limiting the sharing of equipment and disinfecting items between uses. And oh my gosh, so my son goes to gymnastics. This is Jet. Jet is in gymnastics, and the amount of disinfectant that is sprayed in between uses with all these kids running around, they're going through these obstacle courses and they spray. I bet you anything, the amount of disinfectant that is sprayed and these kids are breathing in and touching all this is going to develop some freaking new cancer. We're so stupid. Kids are okay, and but they'll spread it. It's ridiculous. What you should do during this 6-month lockdown or whatever month we're on, fix your immunity. Stop eating McDonald's. Eat clean as possible. Exercise. And then we don't have to worry about this whole mess. But no, not in America. We're going to get fat as we possibly can. How do we keep McDonald's open during this pandemic? They're open the whole freaking time. That's a good immunity freaking destroyer. I'm having a bad day. Reconsider carpooling. Shut the freak up. This only affects the poor, by the way. And this is what ticks me off. It affects the poor. The poor. And guess what? The ones that want to make up the rules don't care about the poor. They don't care. They don't think about it. They just think about, I'm going to keep getting paid somehow. And they have no idea what the future is going to be. And people are saying, this is not political. It's been freaking political from the onset of this whole thing. But you couldn't say it at the time because they said you can't. Watch your own behavior. No, I'm done. Make your own decisions for your family. Best part of this article. Let's read. Getting back to play will help depend on your family situation. Some kids may live with adults who are at high risk of developing serious complications from COVID. Others may have conditions themselves, such as asthma. For the other kids, getting back to the field is critical during these unprecedented times when they've been away from friends, school, and normal life so long. Sick Burt Bennett's son, for example, will be playing soccer this season. For him, if there's one thing that really would make him perk up, that's the thing that he needs, she said. So knowing all of this, I am willing to go for it and see how it goes with some of these strategies in place. What I like the most is make your own decisions for your family. You imagine if we lived in a world we can make our own decisions? Shoot. Speaking of decisions, look at this. German soccer star leaves interview to fight fans in the stands. Let's see if we can play it. Oh, that's a tail end. Sorry. Try that again. Go get him. Go. Yeah. Get him down. Loving it. See, they have their masks. I guess they're not social distancing. That was awesome. All right. All right. That's normal behavior. This is what I like seeing. Unbelievable scene as Hamburger were knocked out by the Dresden in the cup. Good for you. Good for you. Having fans at games isn't a good thing all the time. Hamburger defender Tony Lesnar left a post-game interview, jumped into the stands, and pushed a Dresden fan after his team's 4-1 loss in the German Cup on Monday. The game featured 10,993 fans, woohoo, the most since the coronavirus pandemic gripped the world in March. Lesnar was set off after receiving what he told Sky TV were massive insults towards his family. Oh, boo. After shoving the fan twice, Leitner, or however you say his flipping name, retreated after other fans began to get involved, the shocking video footage shows. Objects continued to rain down on him before he broke off the interview. Lesnar was born in Dresden and previously played for that team. Lesnar later said on Instagram that insults were under the belt against his family, partner, and daughter. He apologized and promised never to react the way he did, regardless what the insults are thrown at him. Here's another angle. We're not going to watch the other angle. So, yeah, that's too bad, but awesome. That's normal to me. All right, next up. Pulisic suffers injury setback, doubtful for Liverpool match. He got the number 10 jersey, by the way, which is freaking pretty amazing. Speaking of Christian Pulisic, so we have a problem in this country. We don't have enough center mids. And before we talk about Pulisic and his injury, understand this. Christian Pulisic has established himself as our top player. By far, probably best player ever. And he was developed by his father, who was smart enough. He was an indoor guy and understood the importance of technique. And his mom played too. And they got him to Europe as soon as possible, out of this crazy country of ours that doesn't develop technical players. Now, I get he's a forward, but he could play the 10 for us, no problem. But we don't create technical, creative players that can do what he can do. We have to move them abroad if you want to develop. So this is what happens in U.S. soccer. We don't create a bunch of Pulisics. We can't, because coaches are concerned about winning. So let's talk about how to win in youth soccer today. You bypass the midfield as much as possible to avoid counterattacks in your own half, because you might get scored on. That is the mentality. That's what's going on in youth soccer right now. Right now. And again. And again. And again. It's a practice. They're scared to lose a practice. I don't know. They bypass the midfield. That's why we don't have midfielders. They won't use them. And we have midfielders in this country, and they get destroyed by age 9 because they're not allowed to make mistakes. They can't change what they do. What we do in America is we put strong athletes in the back line and fast kids up front, and we bypass the midfield versus developing the athletic back line and the goal scorers up front that can run really fast in the midfield. They're not allowed to connect passes there. It doesn't exist as a whole. And I'm not saying there's not pockets. I'm just talking about trends. That's what happens. I see it. I feel it. But I would never do that. I'd rather get scored on versus play the wrong way. I would not do that. So that's Americans' problem. But Pulisic suffers another injury. So, and this is important to know, because we talk about, the U.S. has gotten better. We got Pulisic. No, we need like 10 Pulisics. We need if Pulisic goes down, this is what I talked about, last week or something. If Pulisic goes down with an injury, who's going to replace him? We don't have one like him. Can we at least have 2 in this huge country we have? No, because our pay-to-play system, you must win kind of mentality, doesn't develop them. You got to leave the country. Christian Pulisic was set to make his season debut for Chelsea in Monday's Premier League opener at Brighton and Hove Albion, but has suffered an injury setback. Pulisic returned to training last week after recovering from the hamstring injury suffered in the FA Cup final, lost to Arsenal. However, Frank Lampard confirmed to reporters post-match on Monday that Pulisic suffered a setback and is doubtful to play Chelsea's upcoming clash with defending champions Liverpool. The 21-year-old missed Chelsea's 3-1 league win over the Seagulls at the Amex Stadium, and there is no timetable for his return to the Chelsea lineup. Pulisic was impressed in his first Premier League season, scoring 10 goals and adding 7 assists in all competition, which is ridiculous. It's amazing. And he wasn't given anything. like no handouts or anything. I get it was a big trade, $60 million or whatever it was because of his potential. But he was on the bench, and he had earned his spot. He earned it. He took it, and then now that he's getting the 10 jersey, I mean, I'm just in awe of Pulisic. He's just a freak. His strong campaign at Stamford Bridge saw him rewarded with the number 10 jersey this summer following Williams' departure to Arsenal. Pulisic follows in the footsteps of the Brazilian winger as well as former club legend Eden Hazard Juan Mata. Pulisic became the first American player to score in the FA Cup final in July, but was substituted off after injuring his hamstring on a second-half counterattack. It was the second major injury that Pulisic suffered in the first season with the club after previously missing several months due to an abductor injury. The U.S. men's national team star was replaced by Lampard's squad by Kai Havertz on Monday, who looked unimpressive in the Chelsea debut. Jorginho, Reece James, and Kurt Zouma all scored in the match first 3 points of the season for Chelsea, who next holds Liverpool in London September 20th. So that is where we're at, according to the Coach Cameron thought process. And I apologize to all the snowflakes if I made you feel upset about who you are, because I know who you are. You have no critical thought. You're a robot. You just do what you're told. And you don't want freedoms for anybody else. You just want to take them from us. Is that mean? Is that sad? Can I have an opinion? Probably not. Will I be fired from my job after this? Probably. But that's a risk I'm taking. You should take similar risks. Peace.